Basa metrim wa meso metrim kakra na ebia wantumi anka twi ni nyina so a momfa enche na ono te he de ne say former president John Dramani Mahama na TNT questions no see dey me man na ani ba me sure so obeyi obeyi ni nyina no. And once again you are welcome.
Thank you very much. A very good afternoon to all of you. I haven't been here in a very long time.
Onua FM 95.1.
But I remember when you started.
Okay, you came around.
Yes,
you came around.
Okay.
So this is the new Onua 95.1.
Very popular.
Formerly our studio was
popular radio station.
Maybe you said a popular one.
Very popular radio station.
Yeah, you were talking about a compound as well. You said what has happened?
It looks very, very prosperous. I mean, so many cars. Never seen a media house with such a huge compound.
Oh, but the cars do not belong to the company.
Oh, you can only compete with Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. So mushe hopa.
Yes.
Oh, mushe.
Oh, okay.
Maybe who's a big boys in Kwana Muguha.
Big boys in
Kwana.
Yeah. All right, you're looking great as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Abrabumboko.
Oh, Bibia Boko.
All right.
Now, 95.1.
Yeah, per se, yeah. Why special leader and as a spokesperson for former president John Dramani Mahama. You be sound samba kumi be near here. How far with this campaign tours near Yinana? How is the campaign going?
Well, a very good afternoon to you. Pleasure for me to be here today. I may say, campaign, no name say, is almost about, this is the third month starting.
Yeah.
And I call University for Health and Allied Sciences, I call launch 2024 campaign. I wouldn't say who dear. Efie Ne Fie so kama. Until a free hall, sure, Safi cried. We only have a few more.
Onua FM 95.1.
And there are many who can say, Northeast Onua baby, OT region specifically. Kwanta South, the CIA Bonkomoy. Until me sure say, or shall see na Nayedi Manya many say. He has been protective, they've been safe, and so far, the journeys have been largely risk-free. When I'm saying I say highways, no, they're not very, very safe. There are all sorts of people who attack vehicles. Problems here. So we're looking forward to completing a fantastic campaign tour. We said for the first time, we even had a tour theme, which is building the Ghana we want together. It started from WOHO, it's going across right up to Ashanti region to do phase 1. And hopefully this week, we'll be completing the Greater Accra tour, which we started a few days ago, and hoping to end from Wednesday going. So far, it's been fantastic.
Oh, he will end the campaign coming Wednesday?
No, for Accra.
For Accra. Oh, okay.
Then,
but currently they are northeast.
No, in Kwanta South, OT region.
OT region.
Because
yesterday, me follow no Buem.
That's all OT.
That's
because
that's
of
all.
the new creations.
Because of the new creation.
Okay. And Kwanta North and Kwanta South. Those are all parts of the newly created OT region.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Now, so far, would you say so far so good with these messages going around? Or is it being received well?
Oh, so far campaign the problem being now me dream says so far the message has actually been resonating with the good people of Ghana. Now wouldn't say share sitting and share senior no my diamo biano. People are looking for some hope, some energy.
That's right.
What you say, whilst we are all in search of something better, no, somebody arrives who preaches a very, very solid message.
What is his key message, John Mahama's key?
First and foremost, unity. Secondly, to ameliorate people's suffering. Thirdly, to give us an alternative that we are all used to. An experienced alternative, a better alternative, someone who has been tried and tested. Above all, look around you. For the last 3-4 years, they are near Ghana. They be sorry. it is one success story after the other. What you say? And when him say at a certain point in time, no, citizens want a certain stability. What you say?
Yeah.
When a government offers all sorts of things, people just look for someone who offers that alternate. Now more media idea. Some more start validation, no, more media freedoms, more rights in your man. Now we should not say a baby one speaker or one person or the other is being restrained from so doing. Should I see what Ghana secondary school now say now say ube mo be man a suspension or even ask him to stand aside. Legally, you should at least offer him an opportunity to say, oh, come and be you are no and I be mu and I say a whole disciplinary committee has been put in place to investigate or to vet. And you see it, then you ask the headmaster to stand aside. What does that tell you? Think very carefully about it.
So are you insinuating they are thinking he's an NDC and he doesn't want the free SHSC to go?
I doubt that has anything to do with the NDC. It has everything to do with the government that says don't speak your mind. Don't criticize us. Don't say anything that makes us unhappy. Don't say anything that makes us uncomfortable. This is not the first time. Check. Show more headlines now. They be a people can school be once and be immediately there's action. The Minister of Education will come out with some very, very wild aspersions. The next day you receive a letter. You're sure the teachers no crowd nobody is protesting. No? Who kind of who free teacher cry say who didn't bad disciplinary committee na not for be on we did. Yes, you organize what to say chas I can was him. What to say not I can was him. What the teacher union BAP or can be absent. And say come on issue.
If Nash should come out and I say if Chas should come out, the NVC.
When they came out about conditions in the schools and the lack of infrastructure, lack of amenities, and the bad quality of the food, what happened? Look at what the Ashanti Region Minister did to people who, when they just asking to be paid. You understand? It's a common scenario now. People are used to it.
It's rule or system no more.
Seriously. It's rule or system no pa.
People are being gagged not to speak.
Seriously. I'm more media for more break crashing. What I say? So it's a big issue, and I think it is something that people ought to speak out about. A teacher need to say school the must be see also things. That's it. Look, let's be honest. Nkolana be school be bresa. Who school see be brain in they are lying on all sorts of places. The schools are best now. They see not saying there are no restrictions now. What I say? Yes, see when you grade 44 cra senior high school now.
Yeah.
Have you heard what happened this afternoon, unfortunately, where an STC bus taking children back to school was involved in a minor accident? They are always in and out of school. It's already because 6 weeks, no more MBF. So think about it. May say educational system.
Don't you think say free there man bibia obi apenti am and am an adult so there's no way out into kokakra na oni ebisun kokakra enti na basa.
Me say me free northern region. Enti free education ya there enye nne start here. Yenye papa no munyina enye free education te senka me kra mente ha. What you say? So yeah, there we all understand what the value of education is to everybody irrespective of your social standing. But kanino anaye papa mo school no. Say do any de na enya asem. What you say? And the quality was definitely better. You understand? If the challenge is to have more children, what you say? Free education is the whole annual budget. What does that tell you? What you say? So we do have some very serious challenges. Even Constitution Christ Church and say children should go to what progressively free senior high school. Now time President Mahama wage more about infrastructure for senior high schools, senior mind. What was the reason? It was to expand amenities so you could take in what? More children. Now we share a secondary school system. Ghana, they say education there has never been a challenge. What I say? Even in terms of literacy rates, we've achieved almost 60+%. And almost, in fact, about 72% now, which is not a bad record. And we expect it to go up. What I say? Now, there is nothing that beats say in Kolabeko school and then be struggling. That must be a very serious issue. You know, wouldn't say me extremist. I'm not one of those very rabid politicians who fail to see what is right or wrong. What you say? Who go in Kolano? Man, say crossing in Kolano school in and out. Additional cry. Parents are looking for, teachers, baby, extra classes. Nyoma. What you say? Share placement as MACA cra. What was the outcome? What you say? Now we education minister Beko baby Akoka and Kolano, they are timid. What do you expect? If there are too many of them, they're not getting to sleep, they're not getting to relax, the food is poor, the quality of service is poor. What do you expect? Now we share even the commitment level, the psychological AU of teachers cry is a challenge. Now, teacher salary cry the CD has been devalued by about 60%. Into salary how does it even motivate you to work? What you say? Let's be very, very honest as a people. One of the biggest challenges we have is how to improve the quality of the children in our schools. I know there's a very serious. So be your child. Look at the quality of more language, or more output. Now, say when you be a compare graduate, so be your jumamano, almost share a session in private university. What I say?
Why is that so?
Because people want a certain type of graduate. What I say? Oh, okay. They almost say jumano sunniho. You'll be looking for the very best of them. What I say? And that becomes even more of a challenge.
All right.
It is not our fault. It is just the way it is. And what worries everybody is that nobody can criticize what is going on. What I say? The least criticism, you will actually even regret even that effort that you put into that exercise. Now, me see, your finance minister cried the inception of free SHS. Then okay. Okay, say he doesn't expect that someone like him should have the government paying for his children. So in many ways, if he had actually authenticated the former administration's notion, say, the progressively free is better. Give to those who really need it. But you see, sometimes it is also because of the thinking of our leaders. Okay, say, honorable Yawasafama for say, there was somebody a ye comma oil rich, gold rich there and there. Say, we are citizens, Saudi Arabia, 12 a year na obianya oil biom anamewa. Then how would you feel? What the United Nations Charter actually expects that you will make every effort to make it available to those who do not have. That is the Charter and the Committee of Nations, what it stands for. I didn't know what to say, whoa, baby, no more causes, military, baby, say, come and help. Take police people from one place to go and help. It is actually in our own interest to maintain world order and peace and security. 95.1. Some of these things that people do is not by accident. And if teachers cannot criticize the system, then who can criticize the system? What do I say? So I think that we ought to look at these things with a certain context and be careful that we are not actually accepting this culture of silence as a way of life. Because then that is a big problem. It actually undermines the democratic principles. More and more media, that is your ambit. Chapter 5 is about the rights of our people. She say, U.S. Human Rights Report. Say, there we are all embarrassed. Afro-barometer report by, what did they say? Please cast your mind back to 2015, 2016. Each time these reports came out, what happened? Press conference after press conference. In fact, the worst of our records at the time.
The way I would say, Honorable Joyce, the way I would say, it suggests that the media wasn't fair to your government. More power. Is that what you are insinuating?
A few days ago, I was on News File.
Is that what you are insinuating?
You know what I told your brother?
No, it looks like you are saying the media wasn't fair to you guys.
You try your best.
When you were in power. But we are being gagged. We are being gagged in MPP's era.
I am asking today. Inconsistencies here where we are saying in Ghana. How often do you hear people saying, even when you criticize, ask yourselves to what extent and what is the results? And I make an mistake, can you know, some reporting press conference,
but we are quiet now.
Oh, you are making an effort.
We are not talking.
The effort is not as loud or on a grand standing as it used to be. Okay. Genuinely, that is my personal view. Not to say that you're not making an effort. As the realm of the fourth estate, you still bring us information. You raise the issues, you discuss the issues, you will make an effort to probe and investigate. But that's what I'm saying. Today, that poor headmaster in Ghana school, I'm hoping that someone will take up this case, follow it up. You understand? Offer him some level of, defense, or even some protection. He's on his own.
I think there's a press release to that effect that they are investigating to see what necessitated that.
And I'm
Nti
asking you a question.
Nanga
This is a very simple matter.
investigation, no.
And yeah, dear student, no cross away, and now baby, and now it is just that you said there is a certain quarter in the school that is not habitable, and there's a young person who claims that's where he's sleeping. Should the headmaster actually step aside for you to investigate such a matter? The kids are there. The video is there. Just a walk through the school, you'll find out all the answers you're looking for. And you know, to what extent do you hold the
95.1
liable or responsible for some of these things? What I say, are we not burdening them too much? Say, obey Juma, nanka, or colleague BT, corner, habia, mopona, mokofia, and I don't know about that. How would you know? Maybe it's not even something that is actually something that engages you. Maybe you haven't even thought about it. But you work here, all right. You owe your colleagues a duty of care. But maybe it's not something that you've actually thought about. You know, look, sometimes it is not about the partisanship. It is that there's a certain general perception. And we ought not to allow that to become the last solution. I think that really is what I'm trying to say.
All right. I was saying, so I came on Hionia 95.1. Needing the Honorable Joyce Bawa. What's the surname, please?
The name is Joyce Bawa Mogtari.
There's an addition to.
Yes, that's my middle name.
Joyce, what the addition to account the Honorable Joyce addition to Bawa Mogtari. One name in Sakano, I will say. Now say, yeah, Okasano, they want you to be a bit voicey for us. I mean, for energy kakra. And one name in Sakano, I say. Na in some way I can so far na maybe some campaign to na ekura free SHS the isu as a students be there's a video going as when ya baby in na sebe ya neso na wada and as say no ya ma headmaster bi akwagina nche na me chen so GS for the press release about so when nyina nche nyenye nhwemu but one day was nyina nche bi ani ho esenga ye hu so we no Yembisa students ne yina meaning nti asasem no asasem no how too much.
Oh, it's unfortunate, it's regrettable. You know what I mean? Look, they are working under very difficult conditions, and so sometimes some extra pressure. No, we are all human. What you are saying, and so we ought to be careful.
Okay, all right. Now, Obi Bisa said John Mahama has been right from John Mahama the assemblyman from assemblyman. MP from MP, rise to ministers and vice president. What far role in why the position be heavy? Why John Mahama again? And we say.
Oh, then there's very, very straightforward. I think we've been asked question. We might be what you say. I said John Mahama na ojinano. And yeah, dear, he's been uncontested. What you say is an open and a level playing field. Like everybody else who is a member of the NDC, he's very well qualified to contest. In 2020, he was contested. In 2024, he will definitely be contested. We are actually asking the good Lord to ensure that he helps us so that, inshallah, come May the 13th, John Mahama will actually win the internal contest to lead the NDC into the election. 2024.
Nango want to mean groom will be an NDC.
But every day, as we are all in the process of being groomed. Every day you are grooming new people, young people. Like I said, nothing
new
stops many new faces. There are many other why. Even in 2020, we had Professor Nana Jane Bokwajima as a running mate. How much of that rousing welcome did we give? You understand? There was some resistance and a lot of talk around it and everything. You know, sometimes it is also about what people are used to. One. Secondly, people want a safe pair of hands. Thirdly, people want someone who has experience. Fourthly, people are looking for a tolerance of a certain kind. And remember that one of the most lasting character traits of President Mahama is his love for nation Ghana. I think that really sets him apart from most of our other leaders. A very modest man, a gentleman, an affable man, a man who we believe loves Ghana. And I think there are many young people in the NDC, many middle level, all levels. Look at the caliber of individuals in our party. It is not because they're not grooming other people. It is just that he wants to contest, and I believe that there's nothing that stops him from so doing. And yes, many other people have contested him over the years.
Now, Onua message no the bar around no. Is it being received well?
To be very honest with you, like no other day.
Onua
You can
FM
tell from
95.1.
across the country, from all the... And funny enough, as I always say, it's not just the NDC people, it's not just the delegates. You have people from all walks of life. A few weeks ago, he launched the crowdfunding thing, hoping that Ghanaians will help sponsor his campaign. You saw the response, you saw the reaction. It was also to ensure that there's transparency, there's accountability, that we also remove the issues of private people who fund political aspirants and then hold them to ransom when they're in office. And there were quite a number of CSOs that actually came in even to support that call, because for many months and years now, people have been discussing how we would continue to fund political party activities in this country. As things have gotten more difficult, as the economy has gotten tighter, challenge is also to do with raising funds to run some of these campaigns. And you know the cost of democracy. Look, MP 1 term to go out there and campaign, you need at least $2 million. This is scientific. This is research-based. It is not a joke. I am telling you.
$2 million.
I'm telling you.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. Democracy is very expensive. Koshe Electoral Commission mo budget for each election cycle. Koshe National Insurance Identity, National Identity Authority, NIA. Koshe Sikomu just to give everybody a universal ID card. Democracy is not cheap, it's very expensive. She security for election day operations, she transportation, she polling agents, polling stations, 275 constituencies. It's not a joke. What you say? Even to travel across this country, Saudi will campaign tour, 16 regions. Some very, very far away, 12, 13, 15 hours away from the capital. Is a huge, huge, huge investment. What you say? It's not cheap.
I see. Now, yeah, if your assessment, and I say assessment, I just say, MP, you need a minimum of $2 million to become an MP. Now, considering your, say, if I say 1 term or constituency for the Maokrana, with just 1 term, and with your meager salary, and I say, are you telling me that after the 4 years, the money you are going to make will be up to the money you invested in becoming an MP?
You see, what is the situation is very simple. Whether we like it or not, we have chosen the path of democracy. Somebody will go to parliament.
That's right.
Now, if you remember, in 1992, for example, who was paying filing fees?
95.1.
Very nominal fees. You pay some. Yes. Thank you.
Now it's
even the
raised.
party used to pay for everybody to come and pick up the forms because people needed members of parliament. What you say? In subsequent elections, what happened? Take it, for example, maybe for the first 10 years, up to about the year 2000. What was the cost really to a member of parliament standing for election? From 2000 to date, the conversation has changed. The elections have become very competitive.
Then what's the essence?
The essence is
because we've seen some of them who spent that and went in and had just a term.
That's a risk. That's a risk you are willing to take. You're an adult. And I don't think that anybody puts a gun to your head to go and contest for a member of parliament. But somebody must serve a constituency as a member of parliament. What you say? And you know, this is an estimate that was given by a civil society organization. You understand? It's possible some people probably run for less. Some even run for a lot more, I think. Because where the contest is very, very keenly competitive, chances are that you probably even need more than that. Now, when I'm saying, can you exchange rates? I didn't say there. And if it was a CD was 1:1, say you'll be talking about some very manageable amount of money, what you say. But of course, in a very difficult economic environment, all these things become huge challenges. But I'm telling you, democracy is not cheap. And you know, President Mahama, since he launched his campaign, has made some very, very profound statements regarding the future of this country and the future of our democracy. When him say at the launch or started so bon say, economy need a idea a hard dream pa. And look, if you give him any credit, even before he left office, now Onua started focusing more on industrializing. Moving us from
95.1
Akosombo Dam and Bui Dam to a situation where we will now have independent power producers. what we also wanted to do was that we also now wanted to take the gas from the oil find also, so that we could augment what it is we are importing. These are all methods that were being used to do what? Heavy industrialization will create jobs, open up investment for other opportunities. So if you think about it, there was a whole logistical chain that he was trying to reverse. Crude oil prices never went down, you understand? And the price volatilities themselves didn't help. But think about it. With the pairs and revenue collections that President Mahama had in the period of time, he left the sinking fund. He left the energy sector levy. He left the heritage fund. You understand? How have we used all of these things? But he says a few things that have made enormous, impact. Ex gratia, for example. And this is not President Mahama speaking. It is what Ghanaians are asking for. And I always ask you, have you seen the list of persons qualified under Article 71, for example? From the EC chairperson to the national civic, chairperson, the whole list. Think about it, that every 4 years.
Is he saying he will scrap it off, or he will re-look at it and
first
then see?
And foremost, when it comes to the executive, that is within his remit. It's pretty straightforward. In the days of Jerry Rawlings, maybe we've all forgotten because, we were not paying keen attention then. He never asked for the Emoluments Committee to increase his income. And so he forced everybody to stay on the same level. You understand? Remember that they always set up this Emoluments Committee just when they are about to exit office.
Yeah.
And then when that happens, they are paid for the arrears as well. So it is not just
95.1.
sort of like a thank you or a handshake for that matter. No. Sometimes there's also a certain salary arrears that for the 4 years that you were in office, for example, this is what we're paying you. We had to negotiate your salary, but we weren't able to do that. So we're doing it now. So that is also different. Then, of course, the Constitution Review Commission's work. This is one of the first things that Ghanaians actually asked for, that it was unfair and it was inequitable. Question is, why did we even introduce the payment of ex gratia in the first place? Mr. Kanino, we had to literally beg and coddle people, pamper them to come into parliament. Okay.
Yeah.
The first parliament, we had normal teachers, not businessmen, not professionals of any kind. Today, go out there and
say ex gratia.
O say ex gratia, me say, and share and also. Na me nua Felix Frane me dey bia yebon nkomo. Sansi kana wo fee office na wo je kura mfa, wo ndimi mfa nyehwe.
I didn't know to me.
Because not a lot is, in real sense, it's not a lot of money. It's just the notion of it and the fact that considering where unemployment is, considering the number of people. Look, in the days when Jerry Rawlings and others framed this
free office, where's gratia?
Oh, it wasn't even up to even Ghanaian pounds. How much? We got about, I don't even remember, a little above 2, and I don't recall now. What's the much?
200,000 Ghana cedis.
I think so, thereabouts.
And can it 2 billion?
Maybe, thereabouts.
Into 2 billion.
Which was mostly a component of salary arrears. Oh, no. That money, it wouldn't even buy you a plot of land in a decent part of town.
In a decent part
yes,
of
it wouldn't. You know the market. You understand? Okay. So genuinely, and probably wouldn't even buy you a very good car.
All right.
Maybe we'll buy you a home second-hand vehicle or other. But that's what I'm saying. The conversation around this particular payment is not just about the political class. Look, in the days when the framers of this constitution put the constitution together, for example, how old were the judges? Average ages.
95.1.
Most judges you hear about Supreme Court, they were about 65 going on to 70. Do you understand? Now we have them, many of them, in their 60s, in some even in their 50s. What should I say? Have you seen the recent appointments to the Supreme Court, for example? Some of them will be there for as long as 20 years. And to think about it. So there is a good reason why these things were put in. Over the years, after 30 years.
So clarify this, right? Is Mahama saying he will wipe it off or scrap it entirely, or there will be some review?
For the executive, that is a conversation that is not subject to debate. Do you understand? All you have to do is that you set up an emoluments committee and tell them that, look, for the executive, let's keep their salaries where they are.
Okay.
So invariably, that's it.
Okay.
For the other categories,
ministers,
not ministers. For the other ones, other than the political class.
Okay, which ones?
Those are the judges, for example, and the other categories of Article 71 office. That will require a certain conversation. Now that the middle class is suffering with the challenges that are currently going on.
But in his era, there was a review committee he set up himself.
Every president just before
he did that,
and you can even do that.
But people are saying he didn't pay heed to the white paper that was.
Are you joking or you're serious?
Oh,
how?
He got the report by
Professor Budu Buando committee was the Emoluments Committee under President Mahama. Remember that they went to Parliament. Even some aspects of that particular proposal were varied. And nobody complained.
What actions was taken?
You're talking about two different things. There's one to do with the constitutional review. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Remember that after the white paper was issued, there was an attempt even to change the election date from December to November. Do you remember?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Which required a 3/4 majority of parliamentarians to do.
All right.
Then there was a Supreme Court ruling that came almost in the dying embers of his administration. You understand? In any case, we've had an administration in place for the last 8 years that inherited that white paper. We have a parliament in place that is even a hung parliament now. What has happened to that white paper?
All right. I was so bon komo I will say Honorable Joyce Bawa I will mention her say ye ko ensemu. But then yenye enkrato ba kumie bi emresisia ye ba ya no ye behwehwe ensem ne yakomu ye ensem bi a His Excellency former President John Dramani Mahama akeka do or die no money they compare or die be die no more na face no. There's another one he has just said maybe bisano ana we ano afa say oba before the Governance Advisory Council. How different is that one from the Council of State? We'll be back. Spokesperson former President John Dramani Mahama. Now, and seminary also. But quickly, young share in seminar, His Excellency former President Mahama Ekekano, ebi edoso, and in seminar ebi musu or rem kakra. Nti ye di kan fa ne mu orem ni bi ni akom ye wi ani asan fa ni opeso ye yi ni bi ebi ti say do or die no mu na yi ema na nokra ye ti say sanana bi ne nkrofo yi say oh say NDC for ekusiu Brian Champon ewo na asem wa kan dia they are also going to sue the national chairman Asiedu Nketia and former President John Dramani Mahama. And to do or die, ni spokesperson wa yen starting free do or die. Ni yen say do or die. Asien say yeah life ewo Facebook Onua 95.1. Yeah life on Facebook search Onua 95.1. And to Honorable Joyce Bawa, do or die. We be hearing that do or die to the extent that recently I think he clarified or yeah clarification me more about that.
Now, Unim said that phrase do or die. Idea na yeka. Oh, exams cry now. Oh, now exam rumor. That's the first thing you see. You understand? Now, make sure Hausa cry. We see this one. Gafili Gadochi. You understand?
Gafili
Gadochi.
I say. And also say do or die.
Slang, similar whatever. What you are saying. Sometimes people say this as a way of motivation, as a way of inspiring, as a way of just literally assuring or reassuring people. What you say? Now, okay, say even that statement was in the wake of Ayawasu West Wagon Assembly HC. It was something that was actually said in context. Then you remember, of course, we need to say boot for boot. What you say?
Okay, boots for boots.
Exactly. So these are things.
So why not boots for boots and do or die? Die in your bed, Moody.
Now, and I make sure say, okay, say in the past, these phrases. Yeah, I can afford the Tiwa Chiromu Bibi Kakra. People do all these sorts of things. What you say? Politicians. But
there's one thing about politicians. Oh, come once somewhere. Now I'm making reference to something that has been said. Why is that so?
Yeah, Brian Champo Kokano who has him. One to say Omufi who almost say Omunko arrested President Mahama soon. Yemfanon court because Onuso can say. What you say? When you are in government, the responsibility lies on you. What do you say? When you are in government, you ought also to be more responsible. What do you say? And then who can say by na champion your beer? Ayawasu West Wagon. We had a very eminent Supreme Court judge. Otna Sasem so. There was an indictment even. Most Ghanaians were expecting even some sanctions. Now government white paper and the buy. They rejected the sanctions. Totally and disagreed with the commission. That is within their constitutional rights. But after that, what has happened? They have continued to pamper him, continue to coddle him. Obi ayawa great minister na say, I do any boy din. I will go sharp party faithful sir. And yeah, about that president was say, "Oh, I'm away, you what I say from Minister of State to Minister with a portfolio. What I say, na obecheche mu say oh afei de obekwa kwhwe so se ne obeya aduane bo beba family nyoma eno de ehia o ada MP for mu ndidi we all eat omunko odwa omuntoto aduane we all do. So you should expect that people would show more respect. Who parliament, you swear an oath of office. Yeah, minister, you swear an oath of office. And once soon, we are president. And dear, who first our positions here, you ought to be very, very responsible, especially in the things you say. Now, how can you come and even in the past? Today we are all, I don't know, maybe there's been some time lapse. A day in quarantine, afe, President Akufo-Addo or Nana Akufo-Addo as it then was. And yet, GRA 170, VAT 170, sa kumi preko matches no nyina eko see so.
Yeah, that's
excellent. So that time now one year president.
Rollins.
Strong man Jerry Rollins of blessed memory. Now even under his dispensation, and the cause how much you see demonstrations see, no more can send bebre. She doing so cry not a opposition subject. It became a tool for propaganda. They threatened mayhem. What I say? I'm Mary Nika power. Me sure say you Efie kakra. Okay. Omoba munyina de no moye. The first one was to go and renew the American agreement. Now say aka powership na way. Say the kwa Ashanti region. Nipo omo Gigi light no nyina nya Ghana for. Now say dum so no de na nyina. It was affecting everybody. Obi no business. Obi oko school. Obi owo fie. Everybody. Workers nyoma. Think about it. Even people at home. What you say? So it is a matter that you would have been expecting some collaborative effort from every well-meaning Ghanaian or citizen. Now, Monsieur Mo opposition, what is Asemida? And ne aye nyina ye Ghana wasem nipa bibia obia wa chire no your mind din aye see the cry she den value bia bium juma wo port nyina egu nipa mo 95.1 bibia think about it across sectors. What you say? So we ought to start to look even at nipa welfare, mental health, nyoma. What you say? So beating war drums, war mongering, nyoma, we must condemn them. What you say? But to be a awkward lady, I was West work on every day. Now me say, Onua no brand champion. So don't know what businesses I can say. Now say kromi ye na bibia anye na nipa be kontokwa because people are inciting them through hate speech. Every risks are different. What you say? Some can measure this.
Yeah.
What you say? Obi investment chain obi there. Auntie, look at your background, look at your family, look at what the cost is to you as an individual.
You want to talk about brand champion? Are you saying say Nidia na no danger do or die na?
Or no over government. He's a member of parliament or a minister. Afia ye bon komo. What you say? Na do or die. I'm saying
from a former president and also another.
Meet me aka do.
John Dramani Mahama do or die.
Meet me aka your class. I say I meet you or say yes. Sorry, na ye share no my sisi eyi nyina.
Read it in English. We are near ye dia bro.
Oh, I remember even what he said exactly. O kan nsem nyina wie ye. Or say sa power you omukure. Enya ade they will ever hand over to the NDC. What you say?
We are not handing over power to NDC.
Now, who can say President Akufo-Addo Okomesha? He had reason to say it when he was introducing his ministers. It will be his desire. And you see, he is a lawyer. So he spoke and put it in a certain context to avoid this. But even then, he got enormous criticism.
Now, me pesenga. Me free akunya swa. Meja adhama another MPP ni. Yes, sir.
Exactly. And you want to say, what me can't send be what you say. Me say my voice is very, very low. And to make me I can be crying, yet. But maybe you would think about it. Obi will cast up your
your voice is low. Someone who speaks for a former president, your voice is not low.
Oh, but I'm soft. Yeah, but I'm soft spoken. No, you don't get me.
Okay. There's soft spoken aspect.
So there's a certain tone in which you speak.
Okay, all right.
Some people speak very harshly and in harsh tones.
Okay.
Some speak very loudly and in loud tones.
That's right.
That's exactly what Brian. And don't forget, it wasn't just the Honorable Brian Achampo. On that same platform was our certain vice president at the same walk and after the same walk. You see, She, President Mahama was saying, "Be okay, be Ghana. Ye be any baby I echo.
Onua FM 95.1.
Mini baby a meko. Min crow be a passport a make say BBC na me who ko baby. What you say?
Okay, but are you saying say the tone with which Brian Champo Mokasa, you know? Tone no? As compared to Nana Kufado, a Kasa woman, she had no introducing the ministers, no. Variation, a woman, the tone speaks volume, and
he chose his words very carefully, and his tone was also very, very different and conciliatory, mediatory. He almost sounded. He was expressing a wish, but he put it in very legal language.
Look at this mammoth gathering. Look at the crowd. Into the crowd, the original crowd, anymore. Want to me make a such a menu me in the year, say. There should be some energy in the. We are, by way, we are not handing over power to this. It means maybe they will do their homework well in not handing over power to you, NDC. Anna.
And then
95.1.
Genuine, what is our priority? Is it our priority to fix the economy, to repair the abysmal performance, to ameliorate the hardship thrust upon Ghanaians, to rectify the failed promises that haven't delivered? Or is our priority to hold on to power? When you are elected into office, genuinely, what is your priority? Is it the people or your personal aggrandizement?
So definitely, in the eyes of the people, is the people. But within you, the politicians, you know you want to hold on to power.
Even when you've been voted out? Because that
when you are voted out, you are voted out. That one, when you are voted out.
So there's always a caveat that it is not what we wish for or what we will for or what we necessarily want. Even in our normal lives. Is it everything you want that you get?
Yeah,
is it everything your kids ask for that you give them? We have many desires in our hearts. Only God knows the sort of desires we have, the things we pray and ask for. But when you know that your staying in office is determined upon the outcome of an election. But of course, I'm not surprised. Now say, Isi Hoka Fekwa de MPP headquarters Cressy Isi. Food soldiers say me na afe omo your commission.
That is below the.
Oh, but that's the truth.
Say it's MPP headquarters.
That is the truth. It is.
Is it because of new appointments now, or the Akuko Hona now say? No, what are you trying to say? Say there. MPP from Kwan and
Louisiana. Kodio 4 have come out with a statement that wasn't issued by me. What did I say?
But they are
the
saying
CDD issued a statement. Well, I'm not surprised. And I'm sick. Each time those people spoke, MPP shook and fit hook, line, and sinker into everything they said as part of their propaganda. They weaponized everything that was said, even fair criticism. And then I may say, President Mahama say, it is important, say, let's set up a governing council. What you say, where we have these CSOs and other stakeholders ably represented. Instead of say, say US 4D or human rights report, and no be do hano, no more croma assess government. What you say, so that there's a conversation around these things. Say council no crash says CSO woman, they draw your attention, they analyze it, they evaluate it. What you say, so that at least, who can say AU no more peer review mechanisms be. So instead of waiting, because it was under President Mahama's watch that he started this anti-corruption
95.1
Flagstaff House, where people could phone into a line and report whatever it is they thought was right or wrong. See, procurement crowd, say not single source issues became a matter for campaign. And then Mr. could be a support no create and Juma. What I say, there are some conversations that are very difficult. But I will say you have these hard conversations now. When I say I be about infograph or UTV. After government information minister Chechemu say about disinformation, fake news nyoma, a dear government was going to take a very dim view, what I say, and work to stop it. Cause share Twitter and Facebook nyoma. Say infograph the ultimate now phone crash na uye be na odi post what I say. But say we start say we church any paka to go after your political opponents for no apparent reason. What do you expect them to do? Which I say, now me have to pass UTV. And they apologize and everything. Now we can move on from there, which I say. But let's be honest with ourselves. Is this genuinely the Ghana that you and I want? Time I know BID na for duty. Not say I know was this really what we expected? Me, I'm very objective. Where you can answer me happily 2016 why na vote man who vote my NDC and as MPP because mo media kwa mo was special nti why vote her why na vote man
oh send it
and I mean you say it was secret mom there but then na me bisa o say me hwe we ni ma me sure say dum sonti who do okra we pay you that straight what you say because we like to go over na okra na how na dum so me too bag Ghana 2006 na dum so started light ni kona me susa because I wasn't used to it what you say so we all experienced it at one point or the other so set na dum so dey enya dey na John Mahama na odi light no on and off what you say climate change oti Ghana odi bia wo hwe sense obeto nipa ko wind turbines ni eyinmo alternative sources of energy nyana mo de moto wa mo twen sense obeto ku 4 time lights start dey mo ye ya so focus nyina ko bompa so na amba no mo ko ye 10 key project e wo bui afi ko bui for se mo pe mo asase because sa adam no ye mfa nyehwe because nso no de ento side bi what you say so sometimes I will say yes so as a people let's show some empathy for our leaders
and women are so doom so problem
and I saying the record is clear
because anytime I have a guest here from any of the political
but
MPP NDC say any so we MPP ni krati many what you say preke say yeah ba power when we say do light go off that so they are taking credit so why not so we
who gives credit
95.1
is credit about me taking credit or is about the evidence that is there for you to see
oh probably you did it but man yan allowed am obi ehun say maye nti we mo buy na mo abeji abom mo so mo na ye I can't tell
and I why bon come independent power producers some fi car power buy na President Akufo-Addo no office Ameri buy no office baby so what is this conversation let's stop majoring in minors
ti mo na mo solve dum so
na enya alternative sources of power nke buy say nkan dey many okram komo yembo and I obekwa kwotwe so we bi abehye akosombo na abu so that ubenya power. That is the truth. Now, let me who news item be say government see they've gone to sign their first independent power producer agreement. Nti afekwa asem no mimi hu so bio. What you say? But we all know, and you and I both know. Sure. I remember even at the time when President Mahama had realized there was omoko IMF. You know,
FM 95.1.
Fred then opposition say omombra me enhwe senchi asem nka ho asem. Did you see any of them? Maybe do you see democracy so has some underpinnings where prospective holders of power or prospective leaders you act in a certain manner. It's not just about retaining power. If it's just about retaining power, same there you see, but that's the point. I have a certain sermon that I preach every day. Say, let's all be very, very alert. Ask what the values we want to see in our leaders are. What are the ethics that our leaders demonstrate? What is the level of discretion? What is Ghana? There's been this extreme clamor for constitutional review. We see what consulting council state, what phobia, nipadi tapes about said as anipakuri or a party foot soldier. We see Debbie, he's qualified. Say qualification, we are all qualified. ECD, Juma or qualifications now they call. All of us think we are qualified.
With EC back and forth here, does it show say in the next NDC government there will be some house cleaning? It will easy.
One of the bodies that was weaponized prior to 2016 was the Electoral Commission of Ghana. The target was Madame Charlotte Osei. At the time Charlotte was appointed, I remember a colleague of mine who quipped, say, oh, wait there, Nitania Bear Clinton Pa because you're very young. So that time then I MPP for Kaje. Almost say they didn't cross such a lot of Omu home between. And that's exactly
would that happen to NDC? Is that what you're also thinking of?
But why would you want to keep on someone whose independence cannot be assured? That is evidenced by videos of him communicating for a political party. Share Obama or Kasembi build strong institutions. You say we are happier. What is the reason? The institutions work. What do I say? And you also President Befre one apart, and now Minister Befre or Frewa. Who co-broche won't tip post President Okumo and Prime Minister. What do I say? Oh, to be funny by subscribers saying, oh, you wouldn't even know.
The Germans are there. Mobile power pandia.
Sir, on day we've passed that. I don't want to have conversation about individuals. May say these last appointments are individuals who are naturally political. When you say independence and objectivity, they are two different things. Me, I'm very independent-minded. I can also be very objective when I want to be. I can also be equally partisan when I want to.
Which people are, and I said positions ben na yedi amama nkrophobia mun say these people are core MPP members or more electoral.
I said Ghana has a say akra de obi a core MPP member. If akwa na offer obi nye core MPP member. If Chemi baby bakwa nipa ye juma enye core MPP member. The whole country is purely under that AE. So that is not even a conversation I want to have. May say na say ya they've made some appointments to the electoral commission.
95.1.
Everybody votes unless you choose to recuse yourself. Na yen court kura judge say case we ba when him na when him say we you cannot be independent. We are conflicted and now there's excellent. You recuse yourself. Isi no eho there's no recusal. Na miti say president more swearing in then okay. Oh, it's not the person who collates. Please, can you imagine that John Mahama had appointed me in 2023
as the electoral commissioner
or a member of the electoral commission? You know, look, let's not pretend that these things are okay. They are not okay. They are not okay. They are not right. And no society.
And you think the EC needs some?
Oh, they need some revamping. We need to rethink some of these independent institutions.
All right.
We need to take a closer look at them.
Onua
And if you, I always say one thing, look, a professional like that man, you know very well that you are complicit. Decline the appointment. Sometimes it is also our own personal values. Oh, Mr. President, you know, I'm elated, I'm privileged. But, you know, let me turn this one down. He would have earned enormous respect and praise. You understand? It's not everything that is offered to you that is good for you. What do you say?
But I need clarification on this one. Pam Onua, Omo ababamunan saying na Omo WOHO na Mumba some house cleaning biana.
Me Joyce Bawa Mogtari appointing authority.
Oh, but from the way you were talking, you say we need some. You say they need some revamping. You just said, and I will repeat.
Every independent institution must ascertain its independence, and its independence must be assured, and every effort must be made to return to that independence. That is what makes us the sort of country that we are.
95.1.
If you don't have independent institutions, then what is the point? And I think that we ought to ensure that we build independent institutions around independent-minded people and end this sort of partisan approach to wanting to weaponize all the independent institutions in this country. Always people now say, what in Nkabi?
Special prosecutor.
When was the last time we said, why you might be? Matami to say, come on, man, no mudiama. OSP. What to say we are buy for free? Anything has improved for him. Look, we ought to look at our democracy very closely.
Do you as NDC trust Jen Mensah going into 2024 elections?
Oh, but you see, I don't want to reduce it to a personal conversation.
No, as Onua in the seat.
As
because mo can you be brave and
more
2024. Do you?
Yeah, can't be
95.1.
That wasn't worse than what they said about Charlotte. Now, me see in another country, when an EC commissioner or chairperson admits to errors in results that were put out and tells you to the face that those errors would not have made any difference to the outcome. Do you know that in some countries, the country will bend? You also need strong-minded leaders. That is also very important.
See, with that error, no, you know, like
that was
in other jurisdictions,
me see, in very volatile environments, can you imagine? Then now you go and appoint, obviously, very partisan individuals to go and augment what you already have there. Please, you know, look, there's a level or a limit to objectivity. And I think that is a conversation we are having now.
All right. Onua 95.1, so Honorable Joyce Bawa will studio sa for former president, the spokesperson. And Jen Mensah, Mr. Jen Mensah, Honorable, the running mate to JM, Nana Opoku-Agyeman. There's been this survey by Benefson. Benefson suggests to say, going forward, say, John Dramani Mahama is a Pekino as the running mate. Now, Uncle Far Voltarian, the chances of he winning are very slim. What's your take on that?
You see, I don't know what science or what research went into that
Ben
statement.
Epson, the pollster, Ben Epson.
I'm not sure about his credentials as a pollster. I don't know. I know him to be a journalist, a media person.
You don't know, you are not sure.
I know that he is a media person. He owns a newspaper. He's a journalist of some repute. But as far as I'm concerned, I have no ideas about what his polls say.
Onua
To be
FM
honest,
95.1.
so many of them have been so discredited that I don't want to actually belabor the point. And it lies actually within the remit of a flag bearer at any time to pick a running mate of his choice, to nominate whoever he or she believes is capable of supporting them as a number 2. Now, me say, have you forgotten? The first time our current vice president was introduced to us, who thought he was special? In that first outing, they lost. You understand? In the second one, he was now primed to come with all those statements that he was reading like hymns and telling all the lies.
Yeah.
And people bought into him. Why is he no longer delivering
So
those
Bawumia
lectures?
is not a special person.
At the time, there's nothing special about him, but you all thought he was.
But
She said, EMT no krasi egu solid team no one. Economy no see arrested dollar one. They even had the women. Where are they all today?
95.1.
Genuinely, where are they all?
They don't have the women now.
They said they wouldn't go to the IMF. It was a weapon for the campaign. They are there. Have you ever heard your finance minister sounding so humble before the IMF board? Did you hear him for an hour and a half reference any Bible verse in that conversation? No. Look at the way he was seated and answering the questions. Not even in our parliament did he show such deference.
And are you saying by this time, say or some fat Nana Upokwaji might be as running mate? Or be look that special to add to.
Me say, the person that you all celebrated at the time to come and be your economic messiah was no messiah, but you all bought into it.
So Nana can be a messiah in the near future.
Nana is a credible individual. Look at her
You
track
think
record.
you think you're picking a second time?
That one is not. That's not my responsibility. It's not within my remit. I don't even have any discretion even.
Is
in
she
the matter.
campaigning with
Yeah,
the former
95.
president?
Nana has always been a member of the NDC.
No, is she going round with the?
She has always been a member of the NDC.
No, you won't answer
This
the
is-
question.
Nana is not a,
On any rounds now.
she is not a flag bearer. She's a member of the party right now, like every other person. She served as a running mate in 2020. There's absolutely nothing wrong with her. She stands
Is she
tall.
likely to be retained?
Why ever not? Nothing wrong with that. But as I said, that is not a decision.
I think
for
I'm
me
more
to make.
votarian, so since I was more strong.
Me say, Baby, I can be a mention polls there. That's what they are. Will be guesswork. Will be sentiments. Will be ideas. Will be personal views. What you say?
Into mom fans.
And I make sure you must say posters the omudos. Baby, into enya dia poster back was some the enya dia arguing too much. I mean, he's entitled to his opinion, and there's different perspectives. That's not a problem at all. But
Onua FM 95.1.
rightful capacity as an individual, Nana is more than qualified. Na me say, mbamia kwa mukofa no amobeta ne nsa na yante. And then you know he have a most already be ana and then why say ochina why say is none of it is working because whatever reasons that he became popular for have all fallen flat. This government will go down.
If Bawumia is chosen as the flag bearer of the MPP,
oh, as we sit here today, what credibility does he have?
The panic Vebrem.
David. Oh, how? Man, tell me one thing that you believe that he promised that he has delivered, and even in his supporting
Say he
capacity.
is not in the helm of
But
affairs.
we always use it as an excuse.
The back doesn't stop with Bawumia.
When
You know that.
President Akufo-Addo told you and I
Saying,
that this man is an economist. He will fix the economy. Don't forget.
but at the end of the day,
He has failed abysmally.
No,
He
we
told us
can't-
that he had worked at the Bank of Ghana and that he knows there's money in the vote. Where is it today?
95.1.
Today he's going around and second guessing gold for oil. He told us very well that he will arrest the city. Now, in fact, that taxation was a lazy man's way of doing business. Today, our information minister has announced that the president has actually accented to what? 3 new tax bills. What are we talking about? The same taxation.
But recently,
do you remember the
interest rate? Inflation had dropped.
Oh, almost it.
Actually, say no cry no. We everybody is now
What
praising them.
what is terminology now?
Debbie.
Almost a sharp decline. It don't know what on last week, this week, assasa.
Oh, so I think the ebe
Me
trickle down.
bisa,
So
me see-
adie ba
Debbie,
it trickles.
Me see
It trickles.
assasa.
Enyan society. But
And then me who headline be
uh-huh.
almost see what Ghana what gains what applause. Sri Lanka didn't get applause. Greece didn't get applause.
Onua
So you can see this is just a
95.1.
headline. Highfalutin. Yes. You
And
understand? Look.
we are gaining applause because you see, the road to IMF, I said the roadblocks, ne nyinaa- ne nyinaa has been cleared.
Yes, mutua 11 munko IMF. Mutua 11 manko.
Yeah, it's still
Me see government here there. Look, there is nothing they can say. Look, they can bring anybody. Tell me, meka. Bamiao, why you? Me see solid team no more. Osafuma go the last time say wa be na no aka economy ho asem. And then your vice president crown can economy ho asem biomo. He is hiding in little dispatches. Nkomo en hia no kwa no ko kan.
So launching e ni wi
Oh, launch then.
economy no asem.
Oh, and they train on you.
Launch wi a.
Most artists say the sharp fall drop in the
Onua
city.
FM
The hikes in the
95.1.
dollar. The failing economy, he didn't have a voice. But he will find something to say because he wants to be president. Then he must be taking Ghanaians for a ride.
You share the recent president Kaya, and then we wrap up, and if we'll pick some few calls. Or see, I will establish governance advisory council if I win 2024 polls. How different is this one from the Council of State? Governance advisory council, yeah, they.
Oh, so when him say Council of State, there is a constitutional body that has a certain consultative a supervisory relationship with any president at any given time. You know that Africa, one more president nominates them, and then we have those who are actually elected by various regions to serve on the Council of State. So normally, before the president makes some appointments, for example, they will consult them. The consultations are not even meant to be binding. It will also be the
95.1.
discretion of the president to choose who he wants to take. What I say.
How many people?
For the governing council,
I
I believe that maybe in the regions of maybe it won't be a big council, maybe about 7 to 10 people. Usually people like odd numbers because of voting rights and all of that. So I'm sure if we have a council of about 9 people picking up from civil society organizations and some few eminent people, why not?
And what will be their role?
Their role is largely to serve as a peer review mechanism, to review government's activities. Don't forget
Really?
that. Absolutely.
And would they be paid from the taxpayers?
Let me tell you
profits?
something, that there's a lot of individuals who serve on some of these bodies who take absolutely nothing, who ask for nothing. There are some Ghanaians who just want to participate because they want things to be done right. Why do you have to
So
wait?
there will be more or less a think tank for government, and I said, is that
There will be an evaluation point for governments.
Onua
There will be a
FM
partner to government in
95.1.
terms of governance and matters to do with governance of sorts. Absolutely.
Is it necessary? Because we make us once you have your ministers opposed, you go to cabinet meetings. After that you consult Council of State. Why forming another council of a?
Remember very well that sometimes there's a need even to reach out and call some other people. What I say. So instead of these ad hoc groups that we form every now and then, the idea is to have a permanent council. So on matters of governance, on matters of corporate aspects, on matters of the economy, name it, because there will be experts from across. And like I said, why do we always have to wait for a US report, for the Afrobarometer and all of these reports? Now you have a body that will actually be reminding government of some of these things even before it happens. And of course, they will also serve in some advisory capacity.
And they can do that for free.
Onua
Some people do
FM
for free.
95.1.
But they're not in Ghana.
Oh, even in Ghana.
Really?
We see we've had very bad examples of a finance minister who said, I don't take a salary. But his company is earning almost 160 million from Euro bonds as fees. And now that we are not even paying the Euro bonds, and the money is with it, why won't he bring that money to come and pay for people? Look, let me tell you one thing. President Mahama has a very fair mind about where he wants to see Ghana's democracy. To my mind, he has demonstrated enormous courage in the face of enormous difficulty. I have no doubt that Dumso was one of the key contributing factors.
And then Mamulusu,
I have no doubt, yes, because a lot of Ghanaians were riled by it. And like you said, even by the time when we had actually finally found a solution for Dumso, we were in the dying embers of the administration. So for most people, they had already made up their
Onua
minds.
FM
Finding an
95.1.
alternative to our power challenges was not an easy decision. Finding the resources under very difficult circumstances was likewise not an easy decision. But eventually, when that solution was found, it brought respite to all of us, well-meaning Ghanaians. What actually breaks my heart is the fact that even after our president and vice president all admit that Dumso had largely been fixed, we still get all these stories and tales about whether we... So how are we exporting the power, as President Akufo-Addo loudly boasted about? Where was it coming from? From Akosombo or from Bui? Certainly not. Today, how much have we cut in terms of gas imports? If Ghana gas had not come on stream, would we still not be importing huge chunks of gas and looking for even more currencies to go and chase the gas? So look, we've made some great strides, and I believe that in terms of his vision, even for this country, it cannot be in doubt. And he's been validated on many occasions. Like I said, even for their inconsistencies, contradictions, and the double speak, and the corruption of all things. You know that the person who actually served as government witness in the matter of the breaches of the procurement law by Charlotte Osei was finally himself indicted for the same breaches, even more serious ones. Where is the PPA CEO? You understand? A man whom himself had no credibility. You know, where are all those other stories? As I said, even at our worst performance in government, in terms of the corruption perception index, that was their best.
That was their best.
That was their best. Should we ask for more? When was the last time you heard President speak about corruption or the fight against corruption? When was the last time you heard him speak about Ghana Beyond Aid, for example? When was the last time?
But he has said, I am not corrupt. Nobody challenged it.
Oh. But if everybody who works under you is corrupt and people can say that there's a PPA issue, there's a youth employment issue, there's the cash for seats matter, all of these issues, even your finance minister has been able to, in terms of, look at the perception of conflict of interest, and admits on the floor of parliament that my company did these transaction advisory services for Eurobonds, and this is how much they receive. So today, if we are unable to pay our debts, what should we be asking ourselves? Maybe he deliberately wanted us to fail.
All right. Awusia near say Mahama ne kasamafo ena optimist menim higher worker say former President John Dramani Mahama, your friend Honorable Joyce Bawa etimenim ha. Na your fa calls kakra. Your numbers 0277 114422 0277 okay yeah 114422 and 0556 692 445 0556 692 445 na say oh ko sign bi ana questions bi ana wo contribution bi kakra de be kan nsem a wabro so e wa here o de account na bibia akoso 0277 114422 and 0556 692 445. All right. Hello. 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 Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I'm Pachodin, baby. I can say free.
Mpachefen Big Solom, the Catholic on Catamanzo.
Yeah, Jamie and you.
Yami Sham of Pioneer Juma Pam or Yabua or Mangana. Did you Captain Smart then Mukunina? They're still a remote if you are making command book. So, the American will be an other trade. Okay. Right.
You best say we are software. Software. Hello. Hello. Aya.
Hello.
Yeah, but you didn't baby I say free.
Mr. Religion Begin the Mordecai.
Mordecai.
Yeah.
Ye tell Mordecai.
My member about Suna, Juma, YNSL, Papa, Yeniabana, Yaman, also, Macho, the Casano, it is a Najimu, Dahona, William Disu. In Yabama, Chair, Ghana lived yet, of my many people say, like I you. Sir, 1 year, 6 months back, they are the family as Saba. Send they cry the out of the time and the 2 of we. Then we say, question this to say corruption, the level or another prayer more. Then fear, I'm a swally, Swa, basically, some Swa, it is some young in the local Swa, or Kogaya for this and enough Wado. Busuma could be almost $40 million good, not the carbon. You didn't understand that was it. And before the woman will see and integrity that, yeah, I can see a quarter of the million. And that could have said, now she announced to come in or talk. Yes, to one of them proud of at all. My one for the only them say about me and say about the president. Really about me.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yami Insha also. Yes, quick one. Yeah, but okay, we'll be also you. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, sir. Evening. Yeah, we did maybe I can say free. Yeah.
You play Jacodia.
Yeah, friend saying.
The family than the Quaku.
Yo, Daniel, yet you.
President Biza, Yamami say. This time, let's say never con, then strategy near the Beko. Because they don't go away on when you agree. They say strategy near the Beko.
And I said strategy there, what become our HCC and Crophonos Befa. Obi and can strategy. Anna.
But you.
You. Pesa oche kromfubi and I say yeah. So can style out the bechino. O can the as one also be done also. And Ubeka strategy natural.
Oh, so when him say, me sure say a semi by a champion kind.
Hello.
I know, guys.
Hello. Let me see.
Hello.
Good
evening.
Yeah, evening.
I can make a Palace Mall.
Yeah, Frost saying.
Sharifa.
Yeah, Sharifa, it's you.
2024, John Dramani Mahama. Ebe vice my president.
You.
2024. My papa no.
You. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, more on Pesa Titan, on Pedin, Papa. And Joyce or Ope. The way I pay, you can say 95.1. Yeah, you can say Ope, Papa. No.
And the way they just be Sakojo Ponkuma.
Hey. Oh, yeah. Or can be visa or parliament. Hey. You. Yeah, for last two now, to us. Hello. Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, sir, evening.
Yeah, friend me Festus me Kasafri Abukobi.
What's your friend say?
Festus me Kasafri Abukobi.
Yo, Festus, ye too.
Me per se, fan say 2024. Mahama, President Mahama, former president, Oba power. Obetimia, that constitution review is very important. It's killing us. Yeah, what down. The power to the executive is too much. We have to review that constitution. Because if we review that constitution, it's going to help us. And then secondly, you say, any country that is not depend on agriculture, that country will be suffer. Because it's only a talkwa. Government is not helping us to mobilize planting for food and job. Zero. We don't see anything.
All right. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Last one. Hello.
Hello, Black.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Evening.
Meeting the James Megazafika, sir.
Yeah, James, you too.
Because I mean, I don't know what I'm saying. And I know, Mama about me and Mammy. Because the assessment for boy at Dodo.
95.1.
As I have a question, to sit down my mammy. It's a strong baby. I'm about measurement to my wife. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. And yes, and seminal and one no. But then, Honorable Joyce Bawa, now we can be with paper to an hour fire. And I was it.
Send it by TT. Let me even read it in English.
Okay, all
right. Do the translation. But I champion some kind. Or say it will never happen that we, the MPP, will stand on a platform to hand over power to the NDC. We will make sure the MPP remains in government at all costs. We will make sure the MPP remains in government at all costs. Couple that with the appointments to the Electoral Commission. Clearly, a very, very obvious
So you see some
intention
sinister going
of
on.
an abuse.
Onua FM
Process
95.1.
Appointing
abuse of power. There can be nothing else. Now, me say, and then I mean put it on record. Says President Akufo-Addo nkasa kotuma isikra. The will of the people will prevail upon him.
Say ye President Akufo-Addo electoral commissioner
chair. And the will of the people says that the government will change. It will change. Now, me see, and they cry bonko. You can look around you. Ghanaians have made up their minds already. Completely. You can tell. Why this desperation? Ghanaians have made up their mind. Me say, President Akufo-Addo promised a lot of things, which I say. One of the biggest things he promised was to fight corruption. If corruption has worsened under his watch, what are you asking him to stay on for? And then what? They say, Vice President says what?
That's right.
He is not president. Really? They campaign together. They will go home together.
FM
I listened to Onua
95.1.
yesterday. He says Bawumia should go and sit at home and wait for his turn. So being an NDC member, I'll say one thing, that considering his abysmal performance as a vice president, he has absolutely no excuse. If he has any modicum of respect left, I think he should stay at home. Who cares how economic whiskey?
Economic Messiah. Yeah, friend economic. Diana, your friend, economic Messiah.
Nyamikura ferry.
Oh,
Nyamikura ferry. Oh, God save go shy.
Okay. Honorable Joyce Bawa, you ever know as but am I seeing the next chief of staff? Should Mahama become president?
In all humility, I'm only
no, I mean, I
am only
a chief of staff in waiting, I guess.
I am always in service, just working for my boss. That's all, and asking the good Lord.
The next chief of staff.
Crown all our efforts
after Freema Parry.
Please don't look for palaver for me. All I'm asking the good Lord to do is to crown my boss's efforts and the efforts of the National Democratic Congress.
I see.
Success come December 2024.
I see.
That's all. That's my only prayer.
Yeah, that's it. Nyame inshira papa for coming.
Prekese. The why mama kachi nu nyina.
Mama kachi
We are tired too.
No, but it's good. You've tried. Yeah. Na Otiku afisa aden.
Obia hu. That one is a service that is off limits to me. Everybody is fine. Everybody in my household is well. Me mami ku obia hu.
Yeah, feeling in politics. Yeah, you on TV, so I hear some disability show.
Yeah, me sure.
And now we jai.
Me, I haven't followed them.
Oh, Ebusiano, Munina Mohofe, Yamin Shao for coming. We are chief of staff, no, we are the 3 wise men. You have a
me cry my 3 wise men.
You have a okay, I was here. Yes, you have done as the spokesperson for former President John Dramani Mahama, Honorable Joyce Bawa. Nyami Shirano for coming. All right, into almost 17 more minutes to 6. About 6 pepper news no ever. Yeah,